Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunya Bihare Jaya Radha Madhava Kunya Bihare Gopijana Vallabha Girivardhare Gopijana Vallabha Girivardhare Yasodanandana Rajajana Ranjana Yasodanandana Rajajana Ranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunya Bihare Jai Vishnupada Paramahamsa Shri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki ISKCON Sampradaya Prabhupada Ki Nanda Guri Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Shri Thakur Ki Jai Pramataga Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shyam Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govaran Ki Jai Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Mathura Dham Ki Jai Navritam Ki Jai Gangamai Ki Jai Yamunamai Ki Jai Tulasi Devi Ki Jai Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Samaveda Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai Gaura Premanandi. All glories to the seven devotees, all glories to the seven devotees, all glories to the seven devotees, all glories to Sri Sri Gauranga, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Nitai ki. Namam Vishwabhadaya Krishna Vastaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Nityanamane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Pastatyara Satarine. So we continue with the Transcendental Diary by Hari Sauri Prabhu, from diary from October 1976 to November 76 by, anyway. So now we continue. Prabhupada is in Aligarh. Finishing his talk, Prabhupada asked for questions. Mr. Sangal Sons asked what the Prime Minister's view. Finishing his talk, Prahlad asked for questions. What am I saying here? Finishing his talk, Prabhupada asked four questions. Mr. Saigal's son asked what the Prime Minister's view of the movement was. Srila Prabhupada told him that as far as he was aware, Mrs. Gandhi liked it, but she is also not independent, he added. Recently, one of my students met the Home Minister. He said, yes, this movement should be spread all over the world. They are appreciating, but there are different parties, different circumstances. Prabhupada saw some hopeful signs. Our 4 items, no illicit sex, no meat eating, no intoxication, no gambling. So I think they are taking some steps on this ground. They are trying to stop cow killing, and they are going to take steps for intoxication. Mr. Saigal confirmed this and observed that this would build up the character of the nation. Prabhupada agreed and gave the spiritual perspective. We are already intoxicated in material existence. And if more intoxication is there, then, so this civilization, this education is simply misleading. Simply misleading. There is no enlightenment of this question. What I am, no answer. There was a lot of laughter when Mr. Saigal introduced his eldest grandson as the one who brought Krishna consciousness to his house. The boy's father was the first in the family to become a life member of ISKCON. Oh, very intelligent, Prabhupada said. Dr. Sukla grinned and said, his name is Subodh, which means, Prabhupada laughed, very intelligent. And he extended the humor, linking it up with his lecture. I was talking of Abhuda. Yes, Abhudhajata. Dr. Shukla loved the play of words. Yes, Abhudhaja. He is already Subodha. Amidst the joviality of the Saigal family, Prabhupada, while sharing their laughter, kept his focus on the sober side of things. He is Subodha. One who is Subodha, he is Prarabhava, defeated. And one who is Subodha, he is victory. So human life is meant for becoming Subodha, not Abodha. But they are keeping Abodha. This is different. This is difficulty. Everyone is Abodha. Prabhupada asked the body if I have problems reading it because it's very small letters. Prabhupada asked the boy if he knew what was God. The young fellow, shy and embarrassed at suddenly becoming the center of everyone's attention, replied that he wanted to know. Like a wise grandfather, Srila Prabhupada gently told the boy that unless he knew what it was he was asking for, then he would be cheated. Suppose you go to purchase something, give me gold, and if he gives you iron, then what you will do? You do not know what is God, gold. You must know, first of all, what is God. Then you ask. If you do not know, then you will be cheated. That is going on. The boy's father claimed, Maharaj, but there must be somebody to say that this is gold and this is iron. Yes, Prabhupada agreed. That means requires a superior education. Yes, the father, mother should be responsible. The younger Saigal could think of no one better thing than Srila Prabhupada to impart that knowledge. So who can be greater than your divine grace? Prabhupada smilingly put the responsibility back to him. No, the father. The first thing is that why do you send your sons to the school? It is duty that he should know. So if her father And so if the father is a rascal, then how a son can be Subodha? Everyone laughed at this play on words, and Prabhupada went on, quoting from Srimad Bhagavatam. Therefore the Shastra says that unless you can train your son to overcome this process of birth and death, old age, you don't become father, you remain rascal. Don't beget children. That is contraception. Pitana sach jani na sa syat namot sayet ya samud peta mityum. Srimad Bhagavatam 5.5.18. The real problem is mrityu, but they have taken it that it is ordinary. But nobody wants to die. The education is na jayate namiyate vakadachit nami hanyate hanyamane sharire. There is no inquiry that if I'm not born, why am I born in this body? This is question. Atatu Brahma Jigyasa. If I am not subjected to death, then why am I dying? This question does not arise at all. Therefore nobody is Subodha. Everyone is a Buddha. The problem is there, but he does not inquire. Srila any questions regarding this conversation Prabhupada with these people? Any question? Comment?
Ich habe nicht alles verstanden.
Huh? You didn't understand everything? Well, I will not read it again. Huh? Yeah, it's very important, like I'm always saying too. When I'm traveling in other parts of the world, I always emphasize that people learn English. Because it's important to know English. And also in ISKCON, also the same thing. Because not all the books have been translated into local languages. And besides that, if you know English, then you can also hear Srila Prabhupada. You can hear him. You can understand what he's saying. And Prabhupada was speaking very, very, everything that Prabhupada said was very special. Even single words are very important. Yeah. Like for example, Prabhupada said, you either worship God or you worship dog. It's the same word, just the other way around. And here, it's very interesting. Soll ich in Deutsch sprechen? No. Yeah, English better. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, so you hear, Prabhupada was so direct in his speaking. He didn't make any compromises, so just like he was invited by these people, and so Prabhupada directly came to the philosophy. The man introduced his son, and the son was asking, so who's God, or what is God? And Prabhupada mentions a verse from the Srimad Bhagavatam. Nobody should be father, mother, guru, or whatever leader if he doesn't know how to liberate his dependence of the cycle of birth and death. Very direct. No? So he cited that. No? And of course the man was laughing. No? But, no? So that's why we read this diary of Harisauri all the time. Yeah? Because there's two ways of associating with a person like Srila Prabhupada. This is by his instruction. Vayu and what is that? Vapu and Vayu. Yeah. So this is Vani. Yeah, Vani. That's it. Vapu and Vani. Yeah, Vani. Just like no, you can hear directly from the spiritual master, or get his instructions, and mold your life around the instruction of the spiritual master. That's a perfection. That's a real value of having a spiritual master. He instructs you, And you started mourning your whole life around this instruction. And that's what Prabhupada did also. When Prabhupada received the instruction of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur not to go to the West, Prabhupada saw when Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, spiritual master Prabhupada, saw him the first time. They had never met before. And he came with a friend. And Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati was talking to people. He was sitting, surrounded by people. And when he saw the two young boys coming in, he stopped speaking and looked at them and said, "You are young educated boys. Why don't you take the teachings of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to the West, to preach in English in the West?" And first Prabhupada didn't want to accept it because he was a follower of Gandhi at that time. He was kind of politically motivated. And he argued, he said, no, actually, we should first liberate India from the British, because otherwise they will not take us very seriously. And Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati immediately cut him off. He said, these material things or political things are just temporary. Whereas our message is very important, transcends all these conditions of time, place, and circumstances. And so Prabhupada, when he left, his friend asked him, what do you think? What do you think of this spiritual master? Because they had become very popular, very known in Bengal at that time, in Calcutta and all these places. Because Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati had created the Gaudiya Math, he opened temples everywhere, not only in Bengal, also in other parts of India. And so Prabhupada said, what I think the teaching of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are now in very good hands. Of course, he was a Bengali. Where are you from? No, not Bengali. Nearby Delhi. Nearby Delhi, okay. UP, Uttar Pradesh. So, so he was very impressed by the way he had argued, his spiritual mind argued. And he received an instruction, directly an instruction. Apparently they had never met, but still, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati immediately gave them an instruction. And then Prabhupada, when he left the place, he started associating with the disciples of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. And from the disciples of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, he heard more and more about Bhaktisiddhanta, his class, about his teachings, his classes, his books, like that. He started associating with the devotees. But at that time, Prabhupada was married, so he was a grihastha. He had his family, he had his son, he had a business like that. So he couldn't figure out exactly how to handle this. And then he left. He left Calcutta, went to some other place. I remember the name of the town, and started his own pharmacy business. And he also was very expert in Ayurveda. It says in some places you can see that Prabhupada was giving, at that time he was giving a lot of advice regarding Ayurveda, what medicine to take, how to mold your life in a way that you become more healthy like that. Anyway, so, and then after years, he had met his spiritual master in 1921 or something like 2022. Yeah, what is it? 22, no? Yeah, 22. And then after more than 11 years later, he was initiated by Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And when Prabhupada was initiated by Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, he was recommended by the members of the Gaudiya Math to take initiation from Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. And when he was introduced to Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati for initiation, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati said something very interesting. He said, yes, I know this woman. He likes to hear. Hearing is the most important item amongst the 9 processes of devotional service. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Parasevanam, Archanam, Vandam, Sakyam, Atmani, Vedanam. The 9 processes. Shravanam, hear. Like we mentioned many times, that when you sleep, all your senses are inactive, minus the ear. It's awake. That's why also in the morning, most of us we have how I say it, alarm clocks. Doot, 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 doot. Why is this? Because we are the ear is awake. In the same way, all our senses in our material condition are covered over, are unconscious. But actually, we are in a sleeping condition. Krishna consciousness is described as a process to wake up the soul, become Krishna conscious. Anyway, so the hearing is very important. So anyway, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati mentioned that. Yes, I notice his Robin. He likes to hear. Very important qualification to become devotee, to advance in spiritual life. That you hear the transcendental sound vibration coming down to the disciplic succession, to the parampara. And like I mentioned the other day, that in order to get proper mantras to chant, one has to become connected with the Vaishnava Sampradaya. Hear the mantras through this channel, so to say. Otherwise, a mantra has no power. Doesn't comply with its real purpose. Anyway, so Prabhupada was always saying things as they are. And how? Because he just always referred to Shastra. Whenever Prabhupada said something, like in the conversation here, he already immediately started quoting from Srimad Bhagavatam. When Prabhupada mentioned that in Vedic culture, normally people only took a person serious if he could, how you say, back up his saying or what he was doing on everything by Shastra, by Vedic Shastra. Yeah, like Bhagavad Gita, Puranas, Bhagavatam, Upanishads, like that. And also Ramayana, and Mahabharata, like that. Otherwise, they did they give much attention if somebody was speaking. And this is lost. I just heard a class, I'm hearing classes Prabhupada gave on the Chaitanya Chaitamrita lately. And one thing caught my attention. Prabhupada said, you will not be able to understand Krishna unless you follow Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Interesting. You will not be able to understand, like Bhagavad Gita or what, if you don't follow Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very, very important. Actually, it's Krishna. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was Krishna. And he came to teach us how to follow Krishna. How to follow the most important instruction that Krishna gives in Bhagavad Gita. The last instruction. Give up all. Sarvadhamam parityajam mamekam sharanam vraja. Krishna says, give up all dharmas and just surrender unto me. And then Krishna also says, don't worry, na sucha. Just surrender and I will take care of you. I will take care of all the consequences of not follow all these. There's so many different Vedic regulations. Because actually the Vedas, it says, in the Bhagavad Gita also Krishna says the Vedas mainly deal with the 3 modes of material nature. Just like persons in the mode of goodness, they have certain principles. Mode of passion, other principles. Like for example, in passion, normally people worship the demigods. And in the mode of ignorance, I just heard it again, Prabhupada said they follow Lord Shiva. Shiva. That's why the description in the Bhagavatam is Shiva is always surrounded by ghosts and goblins and that kind of. No, remember when he came to the sacrifice of Daksha? No, yeah, when he came to the sacrifice of Daksha, and Daksha offended Shiva in the assembly, and then Shiva just got up and walked away. But his followers couldn't tolerate this offense. And they started smashing everything around, everything that was there for the sacrifice. They cut off Daksha's head. He had made a sacrifice, cutting the head of a goat. And the head was still laying there. So they took the head and put it on Daksha. So you ended up with a human body and the head of a goat. No. Anyway, but Krishna says, Sarvadamam Pritya. Krishna, I don't remember now. Anyway, so give up all the dharmas. No, dharma. No, as soon as you're born, no, in a civilized society, you have to follow principles for further elevation. Yes. With the end that you get salvation from the cycle of birth and death. Yes. It's everything is pointing to that. Yeah? That you become Krishna conscious, you become aware of who you are, what is God, what is your relationship with God. This is the essence of education. Yeah, but not everybody can take it up immediately. There's some people who are more born lower, mode of ignorance or passion like that, and they have to gradually become regulated and elevated, purified. Anyway, so I just wanted to say that. Hare Krishna. Any questions regarding this? Otherwise, we continue with the Srimad Bhagavatam. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we're reading from the 7th canto, chapter 7, verse 39. And the name of the chapter is What Prahlad Learned in the Womb. Raya Kalatram Pashava Sutadayo.
Raya Kalatram Pashava Sutadayo.
Yamahi Kunjala Kosha Bhutaya.
Yamahi Kunjala Kosha Bhutaya.
Sarve Rakhamak Kshana Bangurudyusha. Sarverta Kama Kshana Bangurayusha. Kurvanti Martyasya Kiyat Priyam Chalaha. Raya Kalatram Pashava Sutadayo. Grihamahi Kunjara Kosha Bhutaya. Sarverta Kama Kshana Bangurayusha. Kurvanti Martyasya Kriyat Priyam Chalaha. Raya Kalatram Kashavatujarayo. Krihamahi Kunjarako Shabunjadaha. Kurvanti martyasya kiyat priyam chalaha. Ayam kulatram bhashava sutadayo. Grihamahi kunjara kosha bhutayaha. Sarverta kama kshana bangura yushaha. Kurvanti martyasya kriyat priyam chalaha. Noch jemand? Shabhutayaha. Sarverta kama krana bangura yushaha. Shaya kriya priyam chalaha. Ladies? Aya kalatram pashava sutarayo. Grihamahi kunjara kosha bhutayaha. Sarverita kama kshana bangura yushaha. Kurvanti martyasya kriyat priyam chalaha. Raya, wealth, kalatram, one's wife and feminine friends. Pashava, domestic animals like cows, horses, asses, cats and dogs. Suta adaya, children and so on. Griha, big buildings and residences. Mahi, land. Kunjara, elephants. Kosha, treasury house. Bhutaya, and other luxuries for sense gratification and material enjoyment. Sarve, all. Artha, economic development. Kama, and sense gratification. Shana bangura, perishable in a moment. Ayusa, of one whose duration of life. Kurvanti, effect or bring. Martyasya, of one who is destined to die. Kriyat, how much? Priyam, pleasure. Chala, flickering and temporary. Translation of the verse. One's riches, beautiful wife and female friends, one's sons and daughters, one's residence, one's domestic animals like cows, elephants and horses, one's treasury, economic development and sense gratification. Indeed, even the lifetime in which one can enjoy all these material opulences are certainly temporary and flickering. Since the opportunity of human life is temporary, what benefit can these material opulences give to a sensible man who has understood himself to be eternal? Purport by Srila Prabhupada. This verse describes how the advocates of economic development are frustrated by the laws of nature. As the previous verse asks, Kim Vishayo Papadu Nai, what is the actual benefit of so-called economic development? The history of the world has factually proved that attempts to increase economic development for bodily comfort through the advancement of material civilization have done nothing to remedy the inevitable birth, death, old age, and disease. Everyone has knowledge of huge empires throughout the history of the world. The Roman Empire, the Mughal Empire, the British Empire, and so on. But all the societies engaged in such economic development, Sadave Takamaha, have been frustrated by the laws of nature through periodic wars, pestilence, famine, and so on. Thus, all the attempts have been flickering and temporary. In this verse, therefore, it is said, Kurvanti Martyasya Kriya Priyam Chalaha. One who may be very proud of possessing a vast empire, but such empires are impermanent. After 100 or 200 years, everything is finished. All such positions of economic development, although created with great endeavor and hardship, are vanquished very soon. Therefore, they have been described as chala. An intelligent man should conclude that material economic development is not at all pleasing. The entire world is described in Bhagavad Gita as dukhalayam ashashvatam, miserable and temporary. Economic development may be pleasing for some time, but it cannot endure. Thus many big businessmen are now very morose because they are being harassed by various plundering governments. In conclusion, why should one waste his time for so-called economic development, which is neither permanent nor pleasing to the soul? On the other hand, our relationship with Krishna, the Supreme Person of Godhead, is eternal. Nitya Siddha Krishna Prema. The pure souls are eternally in love with Krishna, and this permanent love, either as a servant, a friend, a parent, or conjugal lover, is not at all difficult to revive. Especially in this age, the concession is that simply by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Oh no. Harinama, Harinama, Haranama, Vakevanam, Kalawana, Stevana, Stevana, Stevakatinya, Data. One revives his original relationship with God and thus becomes so happy that he does not want anything material. As enunciated by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nadanam Najanam Nasundarim Kavitam Vajagadi Shakamaye. A very advanced devotee in Krishna consciousness does not want riches, followers, or possessions. Raya Kalatram Pashava Sutarayo Griha Maha Namahi Kunjara Kosha Bhutayaha. The satisfaction of possessing material opulence, although perhaps in a different standard, is available even in the lives of dogs and hogs, who cannot revive their eternal relationship with Krishna. In human life, however, our eternal dormant relationship with Krishna is possible to revive. Therefore, Prahlad Maharaj has described this life as artaram. Consequently, instead of wasting our time for economic development, which cannot give us any happiness, if we simply try to revive our eternal relationship with Krishna, we will properly utilize our lives. So repeat the verse again. Raya kalatram pashavasutarayo grihamahi kunjara koshabhutayaha sarvirta kamakshana bangurayusha kurvanti martya sakriyat priyam chalaha. One's riches, beautiful wife and female friends, one's sons and daughters, one's residence, one's domestic animals like cows, elephants and horses, one's treasury, economic development and sanskritification, indeed, even the lifetime in which one can enjoy all these material opulences are certainly temporary and flickering. Since the opportunity of human life is temporary, What benefit can these material opulences give to a sensible man who has understood himself to be eternal? Om Maginati Midandasya Ganandana Salagaya Sasumitami Tasma Shugadama Shirupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vidam Tam. Anyway, so we continue hearing the instructions given by Prahlad Maharaj to his, what is that? Shul, what? Classmates. Yeah, what is classmates? Yeah. And the wonderful thing is that all these children, even Prahlad Maharaj, were sons of demons, asuras. Not suras, asuras. Demons, as it described in the Bhagavad Gita. There's a chapter, dealing with the divine and demonic nature. There are all these qualities of divine persons, or saintly persons are mentioned, and the qualities of demons. Anyway, so normally when you're born into a certain family, you adopt the tradition, the qualities of that family or their parents. But surprisingly, when Prahlad Maharaj was born in the family of Hiranyakashipu, he was the biggest demon. Actually, he appeared in Satya Yuga. Biggest demon. The two brothers, Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu. They created such a disturbance in the universe. But surprisingly, his son was a great devotee. Of course, there's explanations, in the Srimad Bhagavatam how come, that he was born all this. But I'm not going into the details now. Anyway, so Prahlad was born, and he immediately started speaking to his classmates about more important things that they were learning at school. Actually, it says in the Bhagavatam, it says that Prahlad Maharaj did not like what he was taught from the teachers, because they were trying to prepare him to be the next king. He was a prince. And when you are a kshatriya, you have to learn a lot of things like diplomacy. You have to understand who's your enemy, who's your friend, and all this. But Prahlad Maharaj was a transcendental personality. He had a completely different relationship with the world. He was completely Krishna conscious. And he was seeing everything from the perspective of Krishna, from Shastra. So from the very beginning, he manifested his divine nature. He started speaking to his classmates about Atato Brahmajigyas. Vedanta Sutra says Atato Brahmajigyas. Now, after having passed for so many life forms, finally when one receives a human form, one should start asking questions, not about eating, sleeping, mating and defending, but actually about, one should Atato Brahmajigyas, and ask questions regarding to the Brahman, to the truth. Related to God. And so these classmates, they didn't like it in the beginning. They said, Prahlad, we're children. This is for old people when you telling us. When they get old, they become very religious. They go to the church, they go to the mosque, they go to the temples, like that. Because their lives have become very miserable, so they start praying to God to solve their problems. But actually Prahlad said, no, now that we're children, we have to be exposed to this kind of education, spiritual education. And then he speak very, very heavy here. And this had actually be heard by children. Children should be educated like that. Yeah? Just like we have the ashrams, brahmachari, grihastha, vanaprastha, and sannyas. Brahmachari, what does brahmachari mean? That one becomes celibate, one is living a celibate life. Amongst all the pushings of the senses, how you say, sex drive is the most strong. It becomes a driving force, heavy driving force. Not so much in the very beginning, but as soon as you come to puberty, pubertate, you notice as beautiful young girls and all that, and you become attached to them and you start associating with them and all that. But this is actually, it says in the Bhagavatam, this attraction, pungsang sriyami tuni bhavamitam. This attraction between the sexes is the knot that keeps us tightly knotted to the cycle of birth and death. This is the knot that keeps us knotted, attached to the cycle of samsara, to the cycle of birth and death. Anyway, so from the very beginning, according to the Vedic principle, it says 4 varnas and 4 ashrams. I heard once that according to the Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishyas, and Shudras, they pass through different ashrams. Like for the Brahman, it says that they pass through Brahmachari, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, and Sannyas. The Kshatriyas only go to Vanaprastha. The Vaishyas, education, Brahmachari, and Grihastha life. And for the Shudras, only Grihastha life. Anyway, so he was preaching to these sons of Kshatriyas. Kshatriyas have a very important function in society. Kshatriyas, administrators, or how you say, military, like that, organizing society. And the whole purport of that control is to protect the conditioned souls. Protect. It says that there are different groups in a society that have to absolutely be protected. The brahmanas have to be protected. The cows have to be protected. The ladies have to be protected. The children have to be nicely protected. And the old people have to be protected properly. Anyway, so when the administration, the government is not good, then you can see that these groups are not protected properly. Like I mentioned many times, I'm often in countries where people they have a big population, they're very poor people, and they start begging everywhere, like that, and also especially old people. On the stoplights, you normally see them on the stoplight. They're knocking on the window of the cars and begging, like that. And this always reminds me of what it says in the first canto of Bhagavatam, that the government has to protect the old people, because old age is a very important part in life. When you get old. Because you have to prepare properly for the most important, exam in life, death. Old people have to be given this opportunity to live in peace and prepare themselves for death. And the most important most important thing is that they are somehow or other trained in a way, or given the opportunity, they can think of Krishna at the time of death. Like I mentioned the other day, I mentioned that one of my godbrothers, he went home because his mother was very sick and she was about to give up her body. Anyway, and she was very favorable to Krishna consciousness. So he started and taking care of her very nicely, giving her prasad and all this. And at the very end, when she was at the moment of giving up the body, she asked her son, "So where's Krishna?" And when Parvat heard that, he said, "She went back to Krishna." Because she was remembering Krishna at the time of death. Anyway, so we're hearing the instructions of Prahlad Maharshi here, to his companions. It's good. And I mentioned before, like first the children would say, "Oh, Prahlad, we're children. Let us play like children." These things are for older people, especially old people. But he refuted that. He said, "No, now is the time." No. Why is this? Because when you're young, you're very, very, I say, very in very good condition to learn things. Just like Prabhupada said, an old dog doesn't learn new tricks. Anyway, so this is very important. These instructions are very important. And now he's speaking to these children. Just imagine, he was speaking to the children. The verse said, one's riches, beautiful wife, female friends, one's sons and daughters, one's residence, one's domestic animals like cows, elephants and horses, one's treasury, economic development and sense gratification, indeed, even the lifetime in which one can enjoy all these material opulences are certainly temporary and flickering. Since the opportunity of human life is temporary, what benefit can these material opulences give to a sensible man who has understood himself to be eternal? Yeah. It makes me think that now, lately there's so much talk about billionaires and especially billionaires in a certain part of the world now. And they're very proud of their facilities they have. But just the simple fact that they have many millions. What can you do with many more millions? Like Prabhupada used to say, even a millionaire, when he eats, he is limited to a certain quantity of eating. Just like Prabhupada compared that to animal life. They always have their their part, their need by the mercy of God. And when they eat, they can't eat anymore. Maybe they're sitting on the floor and the millionaire sitting on a table, served by servants like that. But actually, it's the same thing. Or when they sleep, they can only sleep a certain number of hours. Then especially when you get old, you sleeping is not so much anymore. You can't. You experience that you can't sleep. You only a few hours, and then you wake up and like that. Anyway, so this is a big illusion. And he is explaining this to the children. Just shows one thing also that in Satya Yuga, there was a completely different environment. Education, people were much more qualified. They lived up to 100,000 years, just imagine. 100,000 years. Later, 10,000 years and 1,000 years. And now, if somebody actually gets to 100 years, boy, very special. It's mentioned. Even they put it in the newspaper, somebody is over 100 now. And then the prediction of the Srimad Bhagavatam is when one gets to 20 or 30 years, one is considered an old man. And that's already happening. That's one of the symptoms of Kali Yuga, it's mentioned in Bhagavatam. That life becomes shorter and shorter. And there's so many conflicts between people. And the people are lazy also. I don't remember the verse now. Kayani Sabya Kalabas Min Yudhijana Manda Sumanda Matayu Manda Bhagi Bhavata. It says that life is becoming shorter. There's always trouble, conflicts. And you can see also nowadays, you can see that before, there was one war maybe like every so many years. Now, there's several years, several wars at the same time, in different parts of the world. And there's more wars to be started. Just like, anyway, I don't want to mention any names, but so, and then also, it says that there's so much, what is that? Cheating going on, so much cheating. Prabhupada many times mentioned that, when finally somebody becomes inquisitive about spiritual life, there's so many cheaters. So many cheaters. Just like before Prabhupada came. Also, certain yogis and swamis from India came to the West. But they were cheating. They were not presenting things as they are. They had no connection to the sampradayas and all that. They invented things. Just like when Prabhupada came to America, to New York, before people were used to see gurus or swamis in different conditions. They wouldn't. They would only preach, or what to say, preach, only teach their yoga or their processes to rich people. And they would immediately ask for money, first of all money, and then they would teach them anything. I just mentioned that in one place, a public place, that when our spiritual master came to the West, he never asked us for money. Instead, he gave us to eat. Isn't it? And many of the devotees at that time became devotees because of the prasad. Yeah. And they would not. They would be motivated by love and trust. That's how they served Srila Prabhupada. Yeah. Anyway, so the cheating is going on. Then it says, cheating. What was the last thing? I don't remember now.
War.
Huh?
Wars. Conflicts.
I mentioned this already. I don't remember now. Anyway, so these are the predictions of Kali Yuga. And even though we are Kali Yugeros, Kali Yuga men, we are at the same time very fortunate. That Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to this, appeared in Kali Yuga, to teach us a very, very simple process. Formerly, these processes were so difficult, so detailed, required so many previous qualifications and all that. Not just like Krite Jayatu Vishnu, Krite Kali, Satya Yuga. It says the Bhagavatam in Satya Yuga, the process was to meditate on Vishnu. And that was only achieved after practicing tapasya for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. Just like Valmiki, the compiler of the Ramayana. Was it? Ramayana. It says he meditated for 60,000 years before he qualified to write the Ramayana under the guidance of his spiritual master. But nowadays, we just invite people to chant the holy name. Huh?
How many years left in Kali Yuga?
Sorry?
How many years left in Kali Yuga?
Well, it's 437,000 years. So it's only 5,000 passed so far. You can make your own calculation. So take advantage. There's a verse in the Chaitanya Charitamrita that goes, Bharata Bhumita Haila Manusya Jara Dhara Kari Dara Para Upakara. That means if one is fortunate having been born in India. India is the most important place on the planet. If you are fortunate having been born in India, you should make your life perfect by all these facilities that are given there. And then you should, take care that others also are given the same opportunity. That means you should make your life perfect by being born in India, and then you go, like Prabhupada did, travel all over the world to introduce the system of purification, of becoming Krishna conscious, revive your Krishna consciousness. Yes. Like in the beginning, Prabhupada only had Western disciples. Well, he initiated actually one person before he went He left India. No? But people were not very interested in hearing Prabhupada. No? Because most in India, when we went to India the first times, instead of listening to us, the people wanted us to listen to them. They thought they were Krishna conscious, they knew Bhagavad Gita, they knew so many things and all that. And they thought, well, we come to learn from them. No, but actually, so in the beginning, Prabhupada, after Prabhupada went to the West, he started attracting young boys and girls who were actually searching for a deeper meaning in life. That was a very special time, actually, the 60s and beginning of the 70s. When Prabhupada came to the West, actually Chaitanya Mahaprabhu somehow or other had prepared the ground for him. And at that time, many young people were searching for deeper meaning in life. And so when Prabhupada came, they became attracted to him because they noticed that Prabhupada had actually given a real counterculture, not just an imagined counterculture, by taking LSD and all this stuff. But actually Prabhupada came to teach, not only by his words, but actually by his own, example, his own example. Tat vijanatam sagurumi papikachet samipani shotiyam brahmanishtam. It's mentioned in the Shastra. It mentioned two qualifications of a spiritual master. The first is he has to have realized the meaning or the deeper meaning of the Vedic Shastra. And then the other thing, he has to teach by his own example. That's what it means, acharya. When you go to India nowadays, acharya, so many acharyas, people who auto-declare themselves the leaders of some society or some company. I'm the acharya. Acharya means acting. You teach by your own example. Like that. Anyway, so Prabhupada attracted all these young boys and girls, and then he went to India with them. And that was a big surprise for the Indians. And then they started attracting Indians also, young Indians. Nowadays, there's so many devotees in India. I noticed that when we go to Mayapur, and take part in the parikram, there's three groups, so to say, of parikram. There's the Indians, unlimited. Then there's the Russian-speaking group, and the third group is the rest of the world. And actually, Prabhupada mentioned that the Indians are our most important allies. He said that in the very beginning already. When Indians started coming to our temples like that, people were actually saying that, this is something serious. It's not like in the beginning in Germany they called us Jugendsekte, the sect of the youth. I say, And at the time when I became a devotee, there were many different Jugendsekten in Germany. The Jesus people and this and that, and sometimes they invited us to meetings where they had invited representatives of different Jugendsekten. To speak. Anyway, so Srila Prabhupada came to the West to spread, like the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said that one should make his life perfect in India. One is born in Bharatavarsha. I heard that in India they're thinking of changing the name again to Bharatavarsha. Bharatavarsha. Yeah. But originally the name is Bharatavarsha. It goes to King Bharata. Bharata. And I think the British gave the name India. And they also changed names of the cities. Like Calcutta, it's called Calcutta. It's not Calcutta. And other cities, I don't remember any. Anyway, huh? Varanasi. Yeah. Anyway, so this is important to know. No, that actually Prabhupada, no, when he came to the West, he started a cultural revolution actually. No, Prabhupada said, this is a real revolution. No, at that time when he came to the West, there were many young people interested in revolution, starting things, changing things. But actually the real revolution is the Krishna conscious revolution. And it took quite some time until the karmis noticed that. In the beginning, it appeared that Hare Krishna was a religion of the hippies. So they didn't take them very serious. But then, sooner or later, they know, no, we just heard you mentioned that, no? That there was a politician in America who said when ISKCON was spreading all over the place, that this is a danger. No? They're increasing. No? This is like how you say, like what did you say? You used a certain term.
10 years they will take over the government.
Yeah, in 10 years they will take over the government. No? Yeah. So they notice, no, this is something very serious. In the beginning, I remember they started, when they started noticing this, the danger of Hare Krishna, they were saying that we were all, how do I say, brainwashed. Yeah, brainwashed. Yeah. But, and so the psychologists and other people appeared, and they were kind of even kidnapping devotees. And not only devotees, also the Jesus people, other groups also. And I remember they charged. The parents gave them the order to re-brainwash their children or something like that. And I remember that the highest price amongst them all was for the Hare Krishna devotees, because they were the most difficult to reform. Huh? And mostly when they were so-called brainwashed, they after a while ended again in a temple. No? Yeah. Anyway, so we continue tomorrow with the Srimad Bhagavatam. Maybe there's any questions or comments. Yeah. Deutsch or English? English?
Prabhupada was asked by a journalist if they brainwash people, and Prabhupada answered, yes, we wash the brains of the people clean again.
Yeah.
So actually this term brainwashing is used in the wrong way. Prabhupada used it in the right way, that our brains have to be washed because
Yes.
they're polluted.
Yeah. Not only the brain, the heart, most of all. Yes. Yes.
You mentioned that previously that economic.
Speak a little louder.
You mentioned previously that economic development is temporary, right?
Yeah.
And
That's what Prabhupada says in the purport.
our body is also temporary.
Yes.
And then why should not enjoy the economic development along with Krishna consciousness?
Actually, Krishna consciousness is the highest enjoyment.
So we don't need
When you become a devotee, you gradually become detached from all these so-called nice things in the material world. Vasudeva Bhagavati Bhagavad Yogata Tattva Tattva Jnanam Atma. Anyway, it says when you start worshipping Vasudeva, as a result of your sub-product, how you say it, no? Your sub-product of your Krishna consciousness, you become detached from the material world. And you obtain knowledge. In an inconceivable way, you become enlightened. Krishna enlightens you from within. Yeah. Actually, Krishna consciousness doesn't mean that you give up everything blindly like that. No? The real renunciation is that you achieve a higher taste. Just like in the beginning, many of us became vegetarians because of the prasad. It was not difficult to renounce the meat and all this. Because actually Prabhupada gave us a higher taste. So once you start practicing Krishna consciousness or this devotional service, you will develop a higher taste. Just like all these devotees who are here. Any one of them can get up and leave and go to the bar on the corner here. Yeah? You're not forced. There's no. You are free to decide what you want to do. You have the free choice. Like you. You came to the temple. And there's so many other places in Köln you might have gone to. But why did you come to the temple? And people say, this is dangerous. I remember there was an article once about the different, I mentioned the different groups, Jugendsekten. And they said, the danger of us, of the Hare Krishna, is when you start listening to them. It's dangerous. Yeah? So don't listen to them. You get hooked up. But you're free. You can come to the temple or not. There's nobody here who forces you to the. It's not that if you fall into Maya, that they put you, how do you say, or some room in the cellar, something like that. No. You can come. You can walk out if you decide to go away again. And so many people have come to Krishna consciousness and left Krishna consciousness. But I also noticed that many of those who left, somehow after some time they come back, because they see the difference. They were devotees, they had some experience as devotees. Just many times, when I meet devotees who I know for many years, I see them come back. They say, Maharaj, this was the best time in my life when I was with the devotees. Yeah. Or they say, when I went out on Sankirtan, this book distribute, this was the best moments in my life. What do you think? Huh? That's why you're still here, no?
Prabhupada hat uns das Beste gegeben, was wir es war schon alles vorbereitet.
Yeah, for devotee it's like, when you look back, it seems like your whole life was like directed in direction to Krishna until you finally came to the temple. No? Huh? Actually, Prabhupada, in the beginning, sometimes Prabhupada said that you have already been devotees in previous life. Well, thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki